Hello Ghosts, it's time we took a deep dive into how Optical Camo works in Ghost Recon Breakpoint and how various actions impact it. First off, don't forget to like and subscribe to Ghost Gamer News on YouTube. And if you prefer to read your guides rather than watch them, check out ghostgamer.news for news and guides on stealth and sniper games like Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Let's get into it by starting with testing methodology. I've got the Optical Camo tree completely maxed out, and I'm utilizing the Panther class with both Slim Shadow as well as Sensor Hack for when we do drone testing. This is so I can maximize my general effectiveness in a variety of encounters and create an even baseline. All tests were done during daylight as well, eliminating any potential benefit from nighttime encounters. Finally, this was done in the standard game mode rather than in conquest mode. Yes, you can use your fully maximized optical camo in the standard game. With that out of the way, let's get moving. Your actual stance at movement has an exceptional impact on how fast your optical camo battery drains. Most people will find themselves moving in a crouch position, which does increase battery drain versus standing still. The additional drain is relatively minor, but what is interesting is that the amount of battery drained versus distance traveled is fairly close to the same, regardless of stance, as you can see in the clips in the video. You can reach the same distance for approximately the same amount of battery expended whether crouched, jogging, or running. What is interesting, however, is that prone crawling doesn't appear to have much of an impact in battery drain. Your battery drain while crawling is almost exactly the same as if you were standing still. It should be noted, however, that you'll still be traveling about the same distance versus the amount of battery drained. Finally, you can skydive with optical camo active, but the battery drain is pretty heavy depending on how fast you're moving. Activating your parachute cancels out the optical camo. As well, when you've got the Mark II upgrade for optical camo, water has zero impact on the effectiveness and battery drain of optical camo. Battery drain when firing is heavily dependent on the weapon being fired. Pistols, for instance, have a relatively minor impact on battery drain, but a sniper rifle like the Recon A1 causes a massive battery drain with each shot. Shooting an assault rifle or SMG in semi-auto does have a noticeable impact. But what is more important to note is that burst firing or full auto firing will completely exhaust your optical camo battery in no time, so it's better to stick with single shots and ideally utilizing pistols. CQC and optical camo were made for each other. You'll only lose about 5% of your optical camo battery utilizing CQC, and that 5% drop triggers right as the kill is completed. Note that detection is still possible if the target is within hearing or visual range, but it is slowed, which we'll discuss later on here. Items like the bullet lure produce a negligible drain to your optical camo's battery at a fraction of a percent, but items like C4 or diversion lures will cause about a 1% drain in battery when tossed. Sync shot drones produce no noticeable impact on battery drain, whether you're launching one or activating them. As an aside, launching your regular drone does produce a noticeable impact on battery drain. As a final note on battery drain, it is best if you manually disable your optical camo before the battery is completely drained. If you drain the battery completely, it'll take much longer to start charging again. The difference is substantial. A partially expended battery will start recharging within 2 seconds, while a fully expended battery will take about 6 seconds to start recharging. Let's get into the detection portion of the guide next. Thanks to optical camo, you can get exceptionally close to human targets without raising alarms. What changes this variable is the amount of noise you make. Optical camo just affects visual detection, so noise from movement or firing is unaffected. While you can stand relatively close to enemies without being detected, the moment you start a jog or run near the enemies alerts them easily. Crouched movement is silent enough that the shimmer from optical camo will be noticed before any noise you make will be, but overall detection speed is slowed with the optical camo. Drone testing was done with the most aware drone possible, the Behemoth. Behemoths are notoriously aware of their surroundings, but you can still get pretty close to them before detection kicks in. Sound detection, much like with humans, is still going to be a factor. I actually finished gathering all of the camo points needed to max out my optical camo by sneaking into behemoth camps and was able to do it relatively silently. But if the behemoth is near the tower, as you climb up the steps, it will be heard on the metal surface, putting them in a partial alert state, looking for you. Here is the too long didn't watch portion of the guide. When using optical camo, you'll want to stay crouched if you're within proximity of your enemies. But if you're far enough away to not be heard, you can jog or run if you're in a rush, which can be useful when moving from cover to cover while in an area covered by snipers. Avoid using rifles in general when optical camo is active, and never use them in full auto or burst fire. Pistols and CQC are your best friends here. Drones can be snuck up upon, but remember that drones tend to be more aware than humans, so plan your movements accordingly. Always turn off your optical camo before it is completely drained, so it can start recharging sooner. That's it, Ghosts. I hope you appreciate this guide. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out ghostgamer.news for more.